Yep, oh yeah. The Q&A just recently dropped on the Odyssey, and I know those who visit this channel were not surprised. Welcome back everyone, I hope you had a great IAE. Please stay till the end of the video for a quick update on information regarding our channel's first giveaway. I'm hoping to get a lot of participants. You do not need to be subscribed. It is just simply a thank you for the support, as well as will also help me see how this system works, so I can do these type of things more in the future. Well, as we were pretty much able to connect the dots and define the role of the Odyssey long before the Q&A, at least now many players had the time to either request a refund had they assumed that the ship was going to be something else. Many immediately jumped to the conclusion that this would obsolete the Carrack, which per our last video, as discussed, it was simply not the case. But if this happens to be you, I would recommend that you get on this sooner rather than later. The holidays are here very soon, and that means CIG will be wrapping up what they need to do for the rest of the year. So your window to request a refund, which I believe is 30 days, is rapidly closing to have availability for someone to give you a refund. And remember, we've already had 1 week gone since the IAE. Granted, I am not the authority on their refunds, but now with a bit more information laid out, you should be able to make some moves. Just remember, the sooner the better. Though 3.16 updates seem to be non-existent, to me it's been a very interesting week. Lots of big pieces of information have been dropped, and I really wanted to wait until the Q&A for the Odyssey just in case any other major surprises came out. But since we seem to be right on point with our last video, there's not much to say for the Odyssey. It is an explorer ship that can stay out for long extended periods of time, but in no way outclasses the scanning ability of the Carrack. I'll stand by my opinions as before and say they need to not be seen as direct competitors, but simply a powerful companion ship. And remember, again, the Carrack has modularity. Meanwhile, for the Odyssey, modularity somewhat comes in the form of what ships will actually fit inside your hangar and what specific abilities those ships in turn bring with them, such as the Terrapin or the Tumbril Cyclone Recon. There's not much to say. It's still a badass ship, same as the Carrack. If you have either one, you really can't go wrong. Outside of that, it's been quiet for the rest of the month. I expect this to continue as we ride out the year and the studio winds down for their holiday break. Let's be honest, we love ships in Star Citizen. It's the biggest draw for many players, and I wanted to touch on some of the important ships that were mentioned on the latest ISC Q&A. To start, I need to go over the Origin 600i. Oh, my beloved 600i. In case you can't tell, I'm sort of a fan. When I acquired her through an upgrade via CCU chaining, I always saw it as the next step up in the exploration vessel line after the RSI Constellation Aquila, or Aquila, or however you want to say it. But for me personally, it was also meant to be the party barge for Goon Squadron. Earlier in this week's Inside Star Citizen, CIG developers showed to me that they were on the right page with the gold standard rework, knowing that they have a winner in the 600i's exterior. But now we are starting to get more details on the future upgrades for this gold standard, and its major upgrades to the interior. There was so much useless space inside this vehicle, and it was nice to see them address this. The touring variant will be seeing loads more focus on that ultra posh VIP transport vehicle, while the exploration variant gets the big focus on, well, exploration. As for the touring, they simply made mention that it will better represent the class of transport that it's meant to be. So my guess is that we're going to see a lot more of, say, the 890 jump elements start to flow more inside of the 600i Touring's interior. As for the Explorer variant, which is my variant that I have, she is slated to see the cargo grid get larger, but I'm really not expecting a drastic jump here. The biggest upgrade will be the addition of the med bay. I'll straight up admit it, I have a bias for this ship. It's probably the one I fly the most. So, you have been warned regarding my opinions. As it stands, Origin has a few extra, quote, taxes to make the Origin ship cost more. In this particular case, the Origin tax is the, quote, luxury tax. And then, of course, you have some ships that have the, quote, alien tax, and then the dedicated military ship tax. For Origin, it's meant to be the best, not in terms of the ship per se, but rather the materials. You do not exactly see a Mercedes-Benz rolling around with, say, cloth interiors and a hand crank window. Often they usually come with the latest technology as well as premium materials. So for a luxury explorer, I would see the luxury company of the stars wish to add in all the accessories as standard, because in the lore, that's what you're paying for. And for a possibly long-range explorer, I could easily see a medbay be an item that the manufacturer would put in. To what degree, we have no idea. I could see a single Tier 2 medbay with respawn, but it may be a Tier 3. One thing we do know is that per the developers, it is already in production, so slated to come in summer of 2022, but let's be real, I'm gonna say fall 2022. That's my prediction. She will also see the crew quarters change to individual crew quarters, as well as adding in an armory. Will the Turing see this? It's unknown. I can see the need for an armory to defend a boarding party, and possibly the individual quarters, but after that, I will be eager to see more information on this. The 600i simply should not feel like an inferior ship to the 400i, which is really well designed. So I'm really hoping that a lot of that effort that went into the 400i works so well get filtered into the 600i. On a side note, anyone else go from a big ship like this and then start to fly around in a smaller ship? How awkward is that for you? It's awkward for me. I always get thrown off by the flight dynamics. The next big beast of an update is of a ship that I still feel is many years away, only because I feel CIG can use the quote lore excuse on us, and that will be the Rsi Polaris. In short, it was a ship that was designed after a need from the UEE's encounter with the Vandal. So technically they can delay it because it's not needed for Squadron 42. And from a lore perspective, it would have been built after the events of Squadron 42. Like many of you, I too eagerly await this sucker. Firing 4 size 10 torpedoes simultaneously will be amazing. And I'm also very curious to see exactly what a fast capital ship will look like. No joke, for years now, I've always figured she was going to move up in class, and as the Hammerhead is officially moving from a heavy gunboat to a corvette, this pushes the Polaris up to a light frigate. I'm curious to see how Idris owners, especially Idris P owners, feel about this. While it does not feature the capital-grade heavy armor like the Idris, the Polaris will be growing in size. And I'm going to go ahead and just say damn close to the 890 jump, with a far bigger rear end, so that way the hangar can fit ships such as the Saber. Now, I somewhat frequently joke about what is a, quote, cheap ship rather often. And this sucker is one of the ships that I would jokingly refer to as being cheap. I'm very curious to see if this ship, based on the new announcements, will have its price pushed up by Invictus. Because not just being proclaimed a light frigate, at one point people would argue whether it was a true capital ship or not, but now there's no question about it. The Rsi Polaris is a true capital ship. She now brings in the size 10 torpedoes, the only ship in the game with a capital class radar, now with upgraded capital class coolers, capital engines, and capital shields. Being that CIG wanted $625 for a war-bonded Odyssey, and the Polaris will be a pure military light frigate, and adding in that military tax, my gut says to see her war bond move up to $750, maybe $800, and then possibly that final release price of near $1,000. CIG has confirmed that the concept and the design has been updated for now, but as it stands, no further production past that is even planned. And
that's all I have to say about that.
But one ship that I feel is officially, unofficially in production and just not a conceptual white box rework is the massive Bandu Merchantman, the ship that I most recommended for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. With what I can see, they are really making the Bandu Merchantman feel alive. I love the animated exposed gears that I assume are the engine. Granted, this is to test animations, but I hope this is maintained. It really amplifies that alien feel. So I look forward to seeing more information regarding this ship start to filter out over the next year. We'll be staying on top of this one for sure. For a flight ready prediction, I'm gonna go ahead and say, let's call it mid to late 2023 at the earliest. I was glad to see it not jump in price during the last IAE, as loads of people locked one up. My guess is that the Bandu Merchantman and the Odyssey were why we broke records. I also say it was due to these ships, it took till near the end of the IAE for the first time ever to see the war-bonded Idris sell out, and both Kraken variants, war-bonded, never sell out. Perhaps the whales of Star Citizen are drying up? Hell, for the first time ever, I was able to put a javelin in my cart 3 times just to watch and see how long it would sit there. And oh baby, they sat for a while. Never thought I'd see the day. Lastly, while not as exciting as the previous ships, to me this is huge, as it lets us know that CIG is 100% all in on fixing the largest eyesore in the game, the Starfarer. To say I hate this ship's layout is an understatement. I would legit probably be all in on this ship if it was not for the design. The only real important things to mention here is that they're finally openly recognizing the fact that it is a disaster. Me personally, I'm hoping for a complete redesign simply to the level of deleting the ship entirely and rebuilding it from scratch. But I know that's not going to happen. Hopefully they do, as that thing is such a disaster. I think it would probably be easier for them to just go ahead and build the inside and then go ahead and build a new exterior and then call it a day. I don't know, we'll see. I just really wanted to make mention of that for anybody that does have a Starfarer. Rejoice, the developers are here and they have acknowledged the design sucks. Redemption for that ship is incoming. Well, that about wraps this episode. Again, not much happening this past week, and nor do I expect much happening for the rest of the year, but all in all, I thought it was really good news to see a lot of major ships being updated and discussed, and kind of give us a general direction on where they're going to be headed. Even though it's small, one of the other things that I am looking forward to for closing out the end of the year in 316 is the Gravlev bikes. Until it's in, all I can have is optimism. Let's be honest, the Nox is a nightmare to fly, as well as the Dragonfly, but not as bad as the Nox in my opinion. I'm looking forward to seeing the changes on that. Should be wild, and hopefully give me a reason to actually take these things with me when I'm out and about in the verse. So are you excited about the announcements? Did you expect the Q&A answers that were given? When do you think the Banu Merchantmen will drop? Did you expect the Polaris to be upgraded to a light frigate? 600i owners, where you at? What are you most excited for? There's lots to start discussing in the Star Citizen community right now, and I look forward to reading your feedback. And one final thing before we go, I wanted to announce I'm doing the first giveaway for the channel. It is for an Origin 100i game package and the complete skin pack for the 100i. The 100i is a nice little runabout starter ship, and as a bonus can also be spawned at Platinum Bay ground vehicle pads, so nice escape option should you need it. Being that it is a game package, that means you also get access to the persistent universe, so perhaps you have a friend who wants to join but refuses to pay as the game is too unstable. This could be their way of getting in without having that buyer's remorse, so let your friends or family know. Again, you do not need to be a subscriber. This is just a way for me to say thank you, as well as let me test out the system to see how we can make this better in the future. It's very easy to enter. You can simply go to goonsquadron.com/giveaways or simply click the link below in the description. The contest does end on December 25th, so there's that. And now that will wrap it up for this video. I wanted to thank you for taking the time for watching up until the end. If you enjoyed the content and would like to see more, please be sure to like and subscribe, as that does help support and grow the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So until next time, stay badass. This is Gypsy Ronin, out.